And now, Matt Wheeler Power and Ailey presents the greatest classic Christmas radio shows of all time.
Hello, Jack. Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Mary. Give me a kiss. There.
Jack, I was hoping for a white Christmas, not a wet one.
I'm Phil Beat of the Assassinated Press. I'm here to check on this rumor that Santa Claus refuses to ride this year.
That, my darling daughter, is the real spirit of Christmas.
Did you hear about the plot to overthrow Christmas?
And now, here's your host, Wyatt Cox.
There were so many adaptations of the Dickens classic that you heard last hour. We're going to present two of them this hour. We're going to start off from Christmas Eve 1949, Dick-Powell as Richard Diamond, Private Detective, a modernized version of A Christmas Carol.
Here's Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, Private Detective. Hello there, this is Diamond. Well, it's Christmas Eve. And every year about this time, my business takes a big nosedive. People usually pack up their troubles and start unpacking colored lights and Christmas tree ornaments. So tonight, instead of telling you about one of my hair-raising exploits, we're going to tell you a Christmas story. So with apologies to Mr. Charles Dickens, we'd like to bring you an adaptation of one of his most famous stories, A Christmas Carol. Now, I'd better explain something first. This version isn't exactly the way you've heard it many times before. Because of the particular type of characters I usually get mixed up with, this story is written to fit their talents and characteristics. Different from the Dickens original, certainly, but we feel that this story could easily happen today, anywhere. Like maybe right here in New York on a little side street just off the Bowery. So now I'd like to introduce our characters. Mr. Ebenezer Scrooge will be played by my good friend and guiding hand of the 5th Precinct Homicide Division,
Lieutenant Walter Levinson.
Walter?
Otis.
The character of Jacob Marley will be played by one of my dearest friends and constant companions.
Otis, that's you, huh? Oh, Sergeant Otis Loveloon. Loveloon.
Walt.
Oh, sorry, Helen. Tiny Tim will be played by our corner newsboy.
Johnny Rawlins.
Tiny Tim's mother will be played by my red-headed gal friend.
Helen Asher.
The rest of the characters will be played by members of the 5th Precinct Police Station.
Officer O'Reilly.
Officer Lund.
Officer Lefkowitz.
Sergeant Miller.
The music will be furnished by the 5th Precinct Police Band, directed by Patrolman Worth. And now, our version of the Christmas classic, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Once upon a time, there was a nasty old guy named Ebenezer Scrooge. He was nasty, all right. He didn't like anything, except maybe all the dough he could get his hands on. Scrooge had a little business that he started with his partner, Jacob Marley. The outfit was known as Scrooge and Marley Loan Company. But one day, poor old Marley just up and keeled over. So the boys along the big street gave him a nice funeral, and old Scrooge took over the business. Well, Marley had been dead for 7 years, and Scrooge lived alone in his little room over the office. And for a hobby, he hated everybody. He had a young guy working for him by the name of Bob Cratchit. Bob had a wife and 4 kids and made just enough to make ends meet. Scrooge used to ride him all the time. When it got so cold the polar bears complained, Cratchit would turn on the little heater. And Scrooge would say,
Cratchit, what do you think you're doing?
Turning on the heat, that's what I'm doing. My fingers look like popsicles.
Well, I don't care if they come in 6 delicious flavors. Every time you turn on that heater, it costs me money. Business is not good, so get back to your work and turn off the heat.
Oh, now look, Mr. Scrooge, I'm freezing. This pen ain't guaranteed to ride under ice.
I tell you once more, get back to your work.
Okay, Mr. Scrooge. I don't know why you worry about business. Why not just put up a sign, turn the joint into a skating rink?
Well, this was no time for any decent guy to act like that. It was Christmas Eve. Along about 5 o'clock, into the office came Scrooge's nephew, Fred.
Well, Merry Christmas, Bob.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Fred. You get back to your work, Cratchit.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Oh, swell. Merry Christmas. Humbug.
Humbug?
Yeah, humbug. My old man didn't like Christmas, and that's what he used to say. Humbug.
Okay, humbug. But it's still Christmas, and I don't see where you get off not liking it. This is supposed to be the time everybody gets with it. Everything stops. That ain't much good, and you put your arm around the next guy, you tell him Merry Christmas.
I'll put my arm around you with a hammer on the end of it if you don't lay off that goodwill stuff.
Look, what's with you? What have you got against Christmas?
You show me a way to make $100 every Christmas, and I'll fall in love with it. Every time the holidays roll around, nobody pays their bills, and they all run around like they own the Chrysler Building. Look at you. $60 a week, and you're coming on like Rockefeller.
Well, sure, I make a lousy $60, but it ain't easy. But once a year, something happens with everybody in this big world. Well, nearly everybody. Because this is a day that somebody else started to make things right for us, and he had a really tough time doing it. It's more than just remembering. It's feeling. It's all around you. Christmas has got to be merry. Don't you get it?
You want me to be merry?
Well, sure.
Then go get some of these joyous clients of mine to pay off their loans.
The missus asked me to invite you over for dinner tomorrow.
Now, don't hold your breath.
Okay. Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas, Fred.
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Humbug.
Late that evening, Scrooge went upstairs to his room, the room where Jacob Marley used to stay. It was dark in the little hall, and when Scrooge reached for the door, he looked up at the big brass knocker and saw...
Holy cow. I could have sworn that was old Jake's face in the knocker. I must be working too hard.
So in he went. A little shaky after seeing Jake Marley's face, but he just passed it off his nerves. He closed the door and locked it, then went over and sat down in front of the fireplace. He got a fire going and started to relax. But every tile around the fireplace started looking like Jake Marley's face.
Oh, now, come on, Abe, old boy. You got to get hold of yourself. This is ridiculous, and I haven't touched a drop in weeks.
He got up and walked around the room a few times, then went back and sat down again. He stretched, rested his head on the back of the chair. From somewhere, a bell started chiming, and Scrooge sat straight up in his chair. He heard something else, too. Something from downstairs.
What the... Oh, now, what is that? What's going on? Who's that? Come on, who's out there?
Then all of a sudden, it came right through the wall.
Marley! Jake Marley. Oh, no, no. I got to stop eating lobster. Oh, it couldn't be. Hey, what's with you? Who are you?
Jake Marley. Who else?
You're dead.
The deadest. But nevertheless, Jake Marley.
His ghost.
You're very sharp today, Scrooge, old boy.
I don't believe it.
You got eyes, ain't you?
Yeah, and I got a bad stomach, too. That's who you are. Nothing but a bad case of indigestion.
You don't think I'm a ghost, huh? Okay, maybe a good scare will change your mind. Whoa!
Oh, no. Stay away from me. I believe you.
Sold on the idea?
Yeah, but why do you got to come to see me?
Regulations. Every man is supposed to live his life and help his buddies. If he don't do it while he's alive, then he's got to do it after he kicks off. Oh!
Now, stop that. Hey, what's with all those chains and things you got wrapped around you?
Oh, these? Well, this here chain is like my life. Each one of these links is something I did wrong.
But why do you have to hold it around with you? Why don't you check it someplace?
Scrooge, old boy, when we was in business together, I never took time out to do any good. I just kept making a buck and figured that was enough. Well, now I got to pay for it. I got to haul this chain around and try to make up for all the things I didn't do when I was alive.
But why come to me?
Because you're going to end up just like me, unless we do something in a hurry. Now, I haven't got much time, so you better listen.
Oh, I don't want to be like you. I'll listen.
Okay. You're going to have 3 visitors. You're going to be haunted by 3 spirits.
Oh, no.
It's the only way you can keep from being like me. When you hear that bell strike 1, the first one will be here. Well, I got to be going. You won't see me again, but you remember what I told you. So long, Scrooge, old boy. Your goosebumps can relax now.
After the ghost took off, Scrooge just refused to believe it.
Nuts. It's ridiculous. Humbug.
Then he climbed into the sack and was soon snoring up a storm. When Scrooge awoke, it was still dark, and the bell from the church on 53rd Street was striking 12. He laid awake listening and thinking to himself.
Oh, just a dream. Ghosts. Bah.
Finally, he dropped off again and slept for about an hour. Then the big bell struck 1.
1 o'clock and I don't see no ghost. I knew it was something I ate.
All of a sudden, a big light flashed in the room. The first of the spirits stood before him.
Oh, Jake was right. Are you the first spirit that Jake said would come to haunt me?
Yeah, you know it.
Well, who are you?
Me?
I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah? How long past?
You're past. Come on, we're going to take a walk.
Oh, where are we going?
Just relax. I'm running this tour.
Oh, well, let me get my pants.
You got 'em.
Hey, they're on me.
With that, the ghost of Christmas past grabbed Scrooge by the hand, and they both flew out of the window. Scrooge nearly lost his upper plate. But before he could yell for help, he was standing in front of a dirty, ramshackle old tenement building. You know where you are?
Sure, I know where I am. This is where I was brought up. Even the garbage cans are the same.
You had a pretty tough time when you were a kid, didn't you?
The toughest. I wasn't very big, and the rest of the kids in the neighborhood were. I had more black eyes than a crow.
You want to go in?
What for?
To see your folks.
My folks died a long time ago.
They're in there now. Come on. Well, the ghost took old Scrooge into the building and showed him a Christmas years past when he was a child of this family. Sure, it was tough living in two little rooms like that, but Scrooge remembered how wonderful it really was. What's the matter, Scrooge?
Huh? Oh, got something in my eye.
You were pretty lonely when your folks, when they...
Yeah. You know, there was a young kid that came around earlier this evening and sang some carols. I wish...
Yeah, what do you wish?
Oh, nothing.
Come on. I want to show you another Christmas. The spirit showed him another Christmas and still another. And you know, no matter how tough Scrooge remembered his childhood had been, it always seemed that Christmas was wonderful. Then the spirit took him to a building down by the river where Scrooge got his first job. They went inside, and seated behind a desk, Scrooge spotted...
Fezziwig. Well, I'll be darned. It's old Fezziwig alive again. And there's Dick Wilkins. He was a good boy. We got along great. He liked me.
Okay, everybody, it's Christmas Eve. You can knock off and have yourself a good time. You better lock up, Dick.
Sure, right away, Mr. Fezziwig.
And don't look so unhappy, Ebenezer. It's Christmas. Come on home with me and tear into a big turkey. All locked up, Dick?
Yes, sir.
Ready, Ebenezer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go and have Merry Christmas, you two.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Mr. Fezziwig.
Mr. Fezziwig.
Merry Christmas.
Then the spirit took Scrooge over to Fezziwig's house, and they saw the wonderful party that Mrs. Fezziwig had gotten together. Scrooge watched and remembered, and the spirit said... Wasn't Fezziwig a stupid, sentimental old goat?
Oh, yeah? Well, let me tell you something. He was a great guy, he was. You know...
What, Scrooge?
I was just thinking about Bob Cratchit, who works for me. I think I'd like to do something for him. You know he's got a wife and 4 kids?
Is that right?
Yeah, 4 kids. Come on, I've seen enough.
Okay, but you gotta see these things if you want to get squared away. And believe me, brother, you need squaring away. Let's go home, Scrooge. Before he knew it, Scrooge was back in his little room, and the spirit was gone. Scrooge was pretty beat, and he climbed into bed and dropped into a heavy sleep.
Huh? What's that? It's 2 o'clock. Hey, that light. In the other room, I got burglars.
Hey, Scrooge. Scrooge, come on in.
Who's that? What are you doing in the other room?
Come on in. Take a look. It's pretty nifty.
Hey, what is this? What have you done to the room? It looks like Macy's window. Where'd you get all the holly and the mistletoe? And how'd you get it in here?
You like it?
Oh, for Pete's sake, a Christmas tree. Who are you?
The ghost of Christmas present. Now, don't tell me you don't like the way I fix things up. I work pretty hard.
Oh, the second ghost. Okay, take me wherever you want to go, but believe me, the next time I try the train.
Come on, let's go. Now, what do you see?
Oh, I see bright colored lights. People having a lot of fun. Kids on sleighs.
See that building over there, the one with a big wreath on the front door?
I got 2020. That's where Bob Cratchit lives. He works for me. Hey, look, there's Bob now.
Yes, going into the house. Up all those stairs to the 5th floor. And he's got his little boy on his back.
Tiny Tim.
Yeah, got polio last summer. Pretty sick little boy.
I know. Bob said he'd need a lot of care if he was ever going to walk again.
Let's take a peek.
Hi.
Hello, honey. You and Tim have a good time?
Best. Didn't we, Tim?
Yeah, Dad. We watched all the kids on the block on their sleds. Mom, will I ever be able to ride a sled? Of course, Tim. Won't he, dear?
Sure thing, Roughneck. Next Christmas, you'll be out there doing belly whoppers with the rest of them.
Dad, what's the matter? Your eyes are all wet.
Nothing, Tim. I just got some snow in them.
Want some dinner, Tim? Oh, Mom, stew for Christmas?
I'm sorry, Tim.
Oh, that's okay, Mom. I like stew.
Bob, will you please say grace?
Can I say something first, Mom?
Of course, Tim. What would you like to say?
God bless us. Everyone.
What's the matter, Scrooge, old boy? Got some snow in your eyes, too?
Tell me something.
Sure, if I can.
What about Tiny Tim?
Oh, can't say for sure. But if his old man makes enough money next year to get the right doctors, little Tim will get along just fine. But times are tough, aren't they, Scrooge?
Yeah. Now the spirit of Christmas present took Scrooge to many places and showed him a lot of happiness and a lot of misery. And finally, back to his little room, and the spirit was gone.
Oh, I don't know whether I can take much more of this.
Then the new ghost drifted in. This was the worst yet. He was really done up for haunting. He was all dressed in black with one arm sticking out and pointing right at poor old Scrooge. This was the last one of the spirits. Scrooge's knees sounded like castanets on a reducing machine.
Okay. You don't have to tell me. You're the ghost of the Christmas that hasn't come yet. You I'm really scared of.
The ghost took off with Scrooge right after him. The city disappeared, and Scrooge found himself in the outskirts of town, standing in the graveyard. The night was howling like it was mad. And as Scrooge looked down, he saw...
Hey, what's this? What's this stone?
The black spirit stood still and pointed, so Scrooge leaned down and pulled away the bushes and saw it was a tombstone.
Well, there's a name here. Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh, no. Look, not this. Believe me, I don't want this. I know I've done wrong, but I'm not kidding. I really know what Christmas means. It doesn't mean just today or tomorrow. It's every day of your life. I swear I'll do better. Only take me away from this. Let me try. Let me try to make Christmas right for me and everybody else. Please, don't let this happen. Give me another chance. Well, don't just stand there. Put your arm back in. You'll catch cold. Well, say something.
Suddenly, Scrooge dropped to his knees and reached out for the spirit. But something happened. The spirit started to shrink. Then it collapsed. And when Scrooge looked up...
What the... My bedpost. My own bedpost. I'm home. Oh, thank goodness. I lived the past and the present and the future, and now I'm home. Hallelujah. Spirits, wherever you are, believe me. From now on, things are going to be different. Oh, yeah. And thanks.
Piper! Morning, Piper!
Hey, boy.
Yeah?
What day is this?
It's Christmas. What's with you?
Christmas. Oh, boy. I haven't missed it. The spooks did it all in one night. Boy.
Yeah? Oh, it's you, Mr. Scrooge.
How many papers have you got?
I don't know. Why?
Well, here's $5. Throw them away and go have yourself a Merry Christmas.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Scrooge. And a Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, boy, say that again.
Thanks?
No, the other.
You mean Merry Christmas?
Yeah, that's it. Merry Christmas.
Okay, I'm coming. What's the matter with you? Can't you see the store's closed? Look, mister, this is Ebenezer Scrooge.
Merry Christmas, Barney.
Huh? Hey, you been drinking?
Not a drop. Well, what's the matter with you? Ain't you going to wish me a Merry Christmas?
Sure. Come on in. Wife's upstairs with her mother, but I got a bottle in the back. I think maybe you better have something strong.
Look, your grocery store's closed, but you could still sell me a turkey, couldn't you?
Well, I don't know.
Well, you got a couple. They'll just go to waste.
What do you want a turkey for? You've been eating at the automat every Christmas for the last 7 years.
Oh, it's not for me. But nevertheless, I have been invited to my nephew Fred's house for a Christmas dinner.
Well, then who's the bird for?
Bob Cratchit. You know, the young guy that works for me.
Oh, yeah. How much you going to charge him?
Here's $20. That ought to be enough for the bird.
No. It ain't worth that much. You sure you ain't been into something?
Well, if it's too much, give the rest to your kid and have him deliver the turkey to Cratchit's house.
Huh?
Here's the address, and don't tell Cratchit who sent the thing, okay?
Okay.
Merry Christmas, Barney.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Well, old Scrooge went back to his rooms and took out an old blue suit out of the mothballs. He shook it out, put a few creases in it, and went out into the street. The old boy was really with it. Everybody he passed, he greeted them with, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Scrooge went to church and gave a large donation, and Father McCarthy nearly forgot his sermon. And then Scrooge went out on the street again and down into the Bowery.
Oh, God bless you, sir, and a Merry Christmas.
Isn't it, though?
He kept walking and having a great time. Later that afternoon, he arrived at his nephew's house.
Well, what the... Merry Christmas, Fred. I've come to dinner.
Oh, my gosh.
Here, I brought you some presents.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, don't thank me. It's Christmas, remember?
Oh, my gosh.
Next morning, Scrooge was early at the office. If he could just catch Cratchit coming in late. And he did. Bob was a good 21 minutes late.
Cratchit?
Oh, no.
You're 21 minutes late.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Scrooge. I had a big evening last night.
You did, huh? You know when I told you if I caught you fancy-footing it in here late again.
Okay, so I'm canned.
You think you got it coming?
Oh, I'm too tired to argue, Mr. Scrooge. Jobs are tough enough, and I hate to lose this one, but I'm just too tired.
A raise would help, huh?
That's the silliest question of the year.
Then you got it. It's in that envelope.
What?
Yeah, and maybe after we see how the funds are, we can do something about Tiny Tim.
No, I don't get it. A raise? You want to do something about Tim? I don't get it.
Sure you do, Bob. Haven't you heard? It's Christmas. Now, go on home, take the day off. Yeah. Take the week off.
Oh.
Come back when you feel like it. Merry Christmas.
Mr. Scrooge?
Yeah?
Merry Christmas.
And Scrooge really did it. He was as good as his word, better even. He made it the merriest Christmas ever. And later, things got better, and he took care of Tiny Tim. And sure enough, Tim was out on his sled the next Christmas doing belly whoppers with the best of them. Every Christmas thereafter, all along the big street, it was said, if anyone knew how to make Christmas merry, old Ebenezer Scrooge was that one.
And I hope that can really be said about all of us, just like Tiny Tim said.
God bless us, everyone.
That's right, Tim. God bless us, everyone.
Merry Christmas. God bless everyone.
Oh, Rick.
Yes, Helen?
That was wonderful. Not quite the way Dickens wrote it, but it meant the same thing.
Oh, you really like it, baby?
Oh, I loved it. No reason in the world why old Scrooge couldn't have been living right here today. You've got the spirit, and that's what counts. How did you like it, Walt?
Rick, I gotta hand it to you. It was really great.
Lieutenant.
Yeah, what is it, Otis?
How'd I do in the play?
You were magnificent, Sergeant.
You know, I'll bet if I studied for a couple of weeks, I'd get me a part on Broadway. To be or not to be? That's the question.
Oh, no.
Now, Walt, leave him alone.
Oh, sure. Monsieur Otis.
Huh?
Wouldst thou accompany me over to the punch bowl for a short flagon of nectar?
Sure, I would.
See you later, Helen. Rick? Yeah. Come on, Barrymore. Let's see if the punch bowl fits your head.
Oh, aren't they lovely?
You want something to eat?
Hey, wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Listen.
They're out here by this window.
Come on, let's go listen.
Use that carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, fa la 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 la. While I tell of you that treasure, fa la 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 la.
Oh, wasn't that wonderful, Rick?
It sure was.
Rick, sing something with them.
Oh, no, honey, I don't want to loss up the act.
Please, Rick, come on.
All right. I'll tell you what I'll do. Everybody usually sings Christmas songs about snow. I'm going to sing one about sunshine. It's called Melikalikimaka.
Melikalikimaka?
Well, it means Merry Christmas in Hawaiian.
In Hawaii?
Sure. It's a brand new song. They love it over there, and we'll love it here. Melikalikimaka is the thing to say, and Haoli Maka Hee-ho. That's our Christmas greeting in Hawaii, and a happy new year, too. With the hope that Christmas may be green and bright, the sun to shine by day and all the stars that night. Melikalikimaka is Hawaii's way to say Merry Christmas to you.
With the hope that Christmas may be green and bright, the sun to shine by day, and all the stars that night.
Melikalikimaka Hmm?
Merry Christmas.
Yes. And a Merry Christmas to everybody.
Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord.
74 years ago, December 24th, 1949, Richard Diamond, Dick-Powell starring in that. From Mount Wheeler Power, we continue following the news.
Hi, this is Kelly Jackson, your Member Services Specialist at Mount Wheeler Power. I'm momentarily stepping away from the heartwarming nostalgia of these timeless radio shows. As we move deeper into the holiday season, a period of reflection naturally finds its way to us, inviting us to appreciate the past year's events and recognize the blessings that enrich our lives. At Mount Wheeler Power, the impact on our members is the compass guiding our business decisions. Our members, who range from large industrial entities and small business owners to farmers and solitary residents at the end of the longest line, form the robust fabric of our organization. They are the reason we exist, the heart of our cooperative. When our members thrive, so does the cooperative. To ensure that our members and their families enjoy the best experiences and opportunities, we've designed numerous member-centric programs. Our high school scholarship program and youth leadership camp, for instance, are aimed at nurturing our youth, our future leaders, into active, educated, and integrity-filled individuals who will continue to enrich our communities. We encourage you to explore the variety of programs we offer, designed to enhance your homes, lives, and communities. As we return to our favorite radio shows, I want to express my heartfelt holiday wishes to you. Your trust in us and the opportunity to serve you is a gift for which we are truly grateful. So let's dive back into the golden era of radio, brought to you by Mount Wheeler Power.
Now back to those great old shows with Wyatt Cox.
Our final program takes us out west to December 22nd, 1953, 70 years ago. It is James Stewart as Britt Ponsett in The Six Shooter. Britt Ponsett's Christmas Carol, another adaptation of Dickens, set in the West.
James Stewart as the Six Shooter. The man in the saddle is angular and long-legged. His skin is sun-dyed brown. The gun in his holster is gray steel and rainbow mother-of-pearl, its handle unmarked. People call them both the Six Shooter. The NBC Radio Network presents James Stewart as the Six Shooter, a transcribed series of radio dramas based on the life of Britt Ponsett, the Texas plainsman who wandered through the Western Territories, leaving behind a trail of still remembered legends.
There was a nip in the air, not a freezing, biting, angry nip, but a sort of tingle that made the morning stars shimmer and swung them out of their orbits a little closer to the earth. Oh, it was a winter nip, all right, but not a hard winter. Not a winter when the cattle would come down from the high places, poking their noses into the ice-encrusted ground. It was a mild winter nip. Mild enough so that the breath of the boy on the Pinto turned only a faint gray as he rode toward the campfire where the man was sitting.
Howdy.
Hello, mister. I see your fire. I thought maybe you wouldn't mind if I gave my pony a chance to warm up.
Sure. Make yourself home.
Now, easy, Black, easy. You heading for Thompson's Corners, mister?
That's right.
I just came from there.
Oh, well, you must have been riding all night.
Oh, just about. You see, I'm running away from home.
Oh, that's so. Seems kind of a funny thing you'd pick this time of year to run away. So close to Christmas, I mean.
I hate Christmas.
Oh?
It's just for kids, anyhow.
Well...
I heard Aunt Millie say so. Christmas is for children. That's what she said. Johnny's old enough to do without all that fuss and nonsense. I heard her tell Mr. Franklin that.
Oh, you don't live with your folks, huh, Johnny?
No, sir. They died about 8 months ago.
Oh, I see.
Christmas was all right when I was with them. Of course, I was a lot younger then.
Oh, yes.
It just beats me the way folks take Christmas so serious.
Well, I don't know.
As if getting presents made any difference. As if I really cared about that knife.
Was that what you wanted, a pocket knife?
I don't want a knife. I don't want anything. I just wish there wasn't any Christmas, that's all.
Uh-huh. Well, I guess you aren't the first person to feel that way. It seems to me I remember reading a story once about a fellow who felt the same way about Christmas you do. Just didn't have any use for it.
What happened to him?
Well, I doubt if I can call it to mind after all this time, but as I recollect, now mind you, this may not be word for word, but as I recollect, the man that it was about, the one that hated Christmas, that is, well, he was a real skinflint, he was. He just as stingy as they come. His name was, let me see, Eben, something like that.
Eben?
Eben, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. Well, being so tight-fisted, this fellow Eben, he got to be the richest man in the whole territory.
He owned a ranch?
Oh, sure. Had 4 of them. 4 ranches and store buildings and farms and maybe a bank or 2.
He was rich. I bet he had a mighty fine ranch house.
No, he didn't have a ranch house. Eben wasn't the sort to spend money on a ranch house unless there was profit in it. See, he just lived alone in town, had himself a steady room at the hotel. Well, anyway, one night while Eben was sitting in his room having supper, Christmas Eve it was. Well, on this particular Christmas Eve, his only kin, a nephew, lived in the same town. He stopped by the hotel.
To wish you a Merry Christmas, Uncle, and invite you to our place for dinner tomorrow.
Christmas, fiddlesticks. Powder-all. I suppose you'd be closing up your livery stable for the occasion.
Why, sure, Uncle Eb.
And just how will the horses know it's Christmas? Answer me that.
Well, if they don't know it, we will. Can I tell Sally to expect you at 3?
You can expect me all you like, but I ain't coming. Not at 3 or any other time. Oh, if you're making so much money you can afford to be giving parties, maybe I ought to think about raising the rents on the livery stable.
Oh, now, Uncle
go on, get out of here before I lose my temper. All this nonsense about Christmas. Fiddlesticks. Hold it.
Well, after that, Johnny, the nephew didn't stick around there. He got out of Eben's hotel room in a regular gallop. It wasn't very long before Eben had another visitor. He was a young fella, tall, lanky, not very good at speaking. He just plain ordinary cowpoke. He was the foreman of the S&M ranch.
Oh, well, it took you long enough to get here. Where have you been? Selling off some of my herd without telling me about it?
No, sir. That day you rode by, I was out in the range hunting strays.
And a good thing I decided to check up on you, too. What's that cabin doing over by Holly Creek? And who are those people staying there?
They're my family. I built the shack for them myself.
I'm not going to have a bunch of nesters in my property. Tear it down.
But one of my boys has been sick. I can't afford to rent it.
That ain't my concern. It's up to you to keep your family and what you earn. So see that you get rid of that shack tomorrow.
But tomorrow's Christmas.
Oh, well, then you'll have plenty of free time to tear it down. I'll be out the day after to make sure you've done it. Good night.
Wasn't much use in arguing. Foreman knew that. So he put on his hat and shuffled out. Now Eben was alone again. At least he thought he was alone. The clock on the mantel started striking 8, and that's when it's time for him to turn in. So he put on his flannel nightshirt and reached for the kerosene lamp to set it on the stool beside the bed. And right about then, the strangest thing happened.
What in tarnation?
Johnny, old Eben saw a man's face looking right at him from inside that lamp. Eyes and hair and nose and mouth, whiskers, all just as plain as day.
Jake!
It was old Jake, Eben's partner. There wasn't any mistake about it at all. It was Jake right to a T. Well, Eben sure didn't like the idea of having Jake right in the same room with him. You see, Jake had been dead for over 7 years. Not that Eben really believed in ghosts or haunts or anything like that. He told himself he'd just imagining all this.
I got to get hold of myself.
He put out his hand to turn down the wick, but all of a sudden his fingers started trembling. There was Jake again, across the room this time, standing right by the bureau.
No.
And when the lamp slipped out of Eben's hand, the room didn't get dark at all. Jake seemed to be surrounded by a splotch of bright yellow light, and he was wearing the same boots and breeches and leather jacket that he'd had on 7 years ago, the day he died. But as Jake came closer, Eben could see that he was wearing something else. A small leather saddle strapped across his back, and hanging down from it were 2 saddlebags stuffed so full of gold nuggets and mortgage papers and land grants that Jake could hardly drag him across the floor.
You recognize me, Eben?
Oh, sure, Jake. Why, sure, I'd never forget you, but what are you doing here? And why are you wearing that getup?
Always thinking about land and money. Always scheming and conniving. That's why I wear it. And that's why I've come to warn you, Eben. The saddle you're fixing up for yourself is even heavier than mine.
But I don't know what you mean, Jake. I ain't done no wrong. I ain't never done folks no wrong.
Have you ever done them any good? Any good at all?
Oh, why, sure. I've worked hard. I've saved my money. I ain't been a burden on anybody. Why, you should see our ranches, Jake. Oh, the way I've built them up.
I have seen them many times. And I've seen a lot more than that, too. That's my punishment. To spend eternity traveling around, seeing mankind with its trials and tribulations, with its joys and hopes.
Is that so terrible?
Oh, Eben, to watch him and not be able to help him. You'll find out how terrible it is. You'll find out.
There must be some way of avoiding this. You always were my friend. Jake, tell me what to do.
Eben, you've got to find out for yourself.
But how?
Tonight, at 1 o'clock, you'll be haunted by a ghost.
Another ghost?
Pay him heed, Eben. Pay him some heed.
Wait, Jake. Don't leave me without it. Jake.
The yellow light sort of faded away and the ghost was gone. It was just like he hadn't even been there. And then something caught the corner of Eben's eye. A little glimmer on the floor. And he bent over to pick it up.
A gold nugget. Now where on earth did he...
Oh, and then he remembered. Those saddlebags of Jake's, they'd been filled clear to the brim with gold nuggets.
Then Jake's ghost really had been there, huh, mister?
Yeah, there just wasn't any doubt about it, Johnny.
What happened then? Did the other spook turn up? The one Jake said was coming to see Eben?
Oh, sure, Johnny, sure, yeah. And he was right on time, too. Eben was lying in bed, wide awake, of course. He hadn't been able to do much sleeping. He was too scared, you know. It was kind of peculiar. Eben was half scared the ghost would come and half scared he wouldn't, you see. But before the sound of the clock had died away, there he was. He's sitting in Eben's rocking chair like he'd been there all night long. And this ghost was a young fella. Oh, maybe 18, 19. All duded up the way young bucks like to dress. You know, fancy chaps and checkered shirt and a red bandana tied around his neck.
Howdy, Eben. Reckon you've been expecting.
Yeah, well, I guess so.
You ready to take a little trip?
Where to?
Back. Way back through the years.
Oh, but how can I go with you?
It's real easy. You see, I'm the ghost of Christmas past. You're past, Eben. Let's shove on.
Well, the next thing Eben knew, he and that ghost were standing out on a snow-covered prairie. There was a circle of covered wagons in front of them, and the people from the wagons were gathered together listening to a tall, white-bearded man.
Behold, I bring you good
He was reading the Bible.
great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And there shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the baby.
The ghost turned and pointed to a boy sitting away from the others on the tailboard of one of the wagons. Small boy, about 10 years old, with hollow cheeks and his eyes all red from crying.
Oh, no.
It was Eben himself. On a Christmas day, a long, long time ago. Not a very happy Christmas either. It was only a week since the oxen had stampeded and his ma had been killed when she fell from the wagon. His pa had died with an Apache arrow in his chest.
I don't want to look at him anymore. Can't you show me another Christmas?
Well, it was no sooner said than done. Now Eben and the ghost were in a bunkhouse. And Eben saw himself again. Oh, it's 10 years older than the boy on the prairie, but he was lying on a blanket staring up at the ceiling. And then his pal Jay came running in, all out of breath.
Come on, Eb. Get a clean shirt on. We got us an invite to a party.
Huh?
Yeah, the boss is throwing a big shindig. He says he'll fire us if we don't show up.
Eben couldn't help remembering that party. Oh, the roast beef and the baked ham and square dancing and the pretty girls in their calico. He couldn't help saying out loud to the ghost.
Oh, dear. How I wish I had...
What was that, Eben?
Nothing, Mr. Spears. Nothing. I was just remembering how I treated my foreman today. That's all.
After that, the ghost took Eben to 3 or 4 more of his old Christmases. And none of them were very happy. Especially that Christmas when the young schoolmarm, sitting on the horsehair sofa, had unwrapped a tiny box Eben gave her and then handed it back to him.
It's a lovely ring, Eben. But I can't wear it.
Well, you're not courting somebody else.
No, Eben. But you are. You're courting something else.
Bill.
Land and money, cattle, profits. They mean more to you than I ever would. I'm sorry.
Mr. Ghost, no more of the past. Please, I've seen enough. A man wants to forget.
Sure, Eben. Whatever you say.
And before Eben could blink his eyes, he was right back in the hotel room. But once he got there, he blinked real hard because all of a sudden the ghost was becoming a different person. He was getting fatter, and his stomach popped out 2 or 3 inches, and a few wrinkles creased his cheeks, and finally his chaps turned into a shiny blue serge suit with a heavy gold chain dangling across the vest.
Well, what's happened to you? Why are you so different now?
You seem to be getting tired of the past, so I thought we might take a gander at the present, if you've got no objection.
Well, the hotel room just melted away, and Eben was looking at that cabin his foreman had built on Holly Creek. Well, that cabin sure was crowded. Oh, there must have been 5 or 6 children, all helping their mother get the Christmas dinner, all laughing and talking, as busy as summer coast. But when their father came in, he had a long face and a tired mouth, and his wife looked up and wanted to know what was troubling him.
Oh, I was thinking about old Eben.
It's not a very pleasant thought for Christmas, Bob. By the way, what did he want with you yesterday? Was it about this cabin?
Oh, no, of course not. Well, let's get on with dinner. Sit down, everybody. Now, where's my Jim, huh? Well, I guess we're just going to have to eat.
And Bob looked all around the room. He was pretending he didn't see the little fellow in the corner. The boy with an iron brace on his leg and a wooden crutch propped up against the wall. But little Tim, he wasn't going to be ignored.
Here I am.
So Bob picked him up and carried him over to the table.
God bless this food, this house, and us and our friends. Even old Eben. Amen.
The family found that part about Eben a little hard to swallow, but they finally managed, and Tim was the last one to chime in.
God bless us, everyone.
Eben didn't want to watch what was going on in that cabin any longer, but the next place the ghost showed him wasn't much easier on him. There was a big party going on at his nephew's house back in the livery stable. And one of the ladies was blindfolded, you see, and she was trying to pin the tail onto a donkey. But there was something peculiar about this donkey, about the way it was drawn. It looked more like a person than an animal. Well, Eben recognized who it was supposed to be right off.
You see, folks, I invited Uncle Eb to be with us, but he turned me down flat. So I figured we'd have him here in spirit, if not in the flesh.
right back in the hotel room again. That's where Eben found himself.
Spirit, you showed me the past and the present. What's left to see?
The future, Eben. The future.
And that's how Eben came to see a Christmas of the future. A cold, brittle Christmas. And there were two men standing on a street corner, and their coat collars turned up so to keep out the snow.
Oh, he's dead, all right. Dead as a doornail. Sure is a Christmas present I never expected. At least whoever handles his property won't be as hard to deal with as he was. Wonder if they'll bother giving him a funeral.
And in a frame house over on the side street in the edge of town, a woman was speaking to her husband.
Sonny, to me, he's been dead for years. Well, I haven't even thought of him since I don't know when. And yet, you know, once I was real fond of him. Funny, isn't it?
Ghost. Who are they talking about? Those men on the street. That woman I used to know. Who is it that's dead? Tell me.
And the ghost slowly turned and stretched out a long, thin, bony finger. And there, right at the end of that finger, was a tombstone, all covered with weeds. Eben could barely make out the name that was carved on it.
Ebenezer Scrooge. No. What's this? Where am I?
And you know what? He was right in his own bed, in his own nightshirt, and the sun was streaming through the frosted windows. But Eben didn't stay there very long, not for very long. He got into his boots and trousers as fast as he could, and he dashed down the stairs, out into the street. Well, you see, the stores being closed gave Eben quite a problem. Well, he'd just have to make Fuzzy Wagner open the butcher shop up, that's all. Of course, Fuzzy didn't have much choice, seeing as how the shop was located in one of Eben's buildings. And when Eben told him what he wanted, a turkey and a ham, well...
No. Better make it 2 hams and send them out to the cabin on the S&M ranch. And they're not to know that I ordered them. You understand, Fuzzy? Here's the money and a little extra for your trouble.
Well, before Fuzzy could get his jaw shut up again, Eben was on his way, and he headed right straight out to his nephew's house. And Eben was the life of the party, too. Well, the way he carried on, he's laughing and making jokes and telling stories on himself, and he insisted that they use that donkey with his face on it when they played games, you know.
Yes, because that's what I've been all these years. A real 4-footed, long-eared donkey.
And the next morning, though, that's what Eben enjoyed the most. He was up bright and early and hitched the team to the buckboard and drove out to the S&M, hurrying the horses all the way.
Come on, Bess. Come on, Martha. Step a little lively.
If he could just get out there before his foreman started tearing down that cabin.
Whoa, Martha. Whoa. Yeah. Well, Robert?
Yes, sir?
I see you ain't carried out my orders.
It was Christmas. I just couldn't tell him I'll do it today.
Oh, this is the last straw. I'm not putting up with your shenanigans any longer, young fella.
But please...
That cabin's coming down and no buts about it. And then we're building a new ranch house in its place. Big enough for you and your whole family.
What?
Oh, yes. I'm also doubling your wages as of last week. Merry Christmas, Bob. Even if I am a day late. No, not a day. More like half a lifetime. But Merry Christmas anyway. And as your son says, God bless everyone.
Well, that's the way things worked out, Johnny, more or less.
Well, that's a fine story, Mr. Real fine. I reckon I know why you told it to me.
How's that?
So that I'd understand about Christmas and how important it is to do for other people instead of just thinking about yourself.
Well, no. I didn't have that in mind, especially. The story just happened to come into my head, that's all.
Well, maybe if I could give Aunt Millie something, a present, maybe. Oh, shucks, what could I give her? I don't have no money.
Well, of course, there are lots of things that don't cost a penny, not a single red cent, you know.
Hmm?
Well, now, let's see. Take that little spruce over there. It'd be real easy to cut that down and with a little fixing and maybe a few doodads from around the house. Well, I'll bet you can make a Jim Dandy Christmas tree of it, huh?
I suppose so, but what's good's a tree without something to put under it?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Johnny, you don't happen to know Jim Bender, do you? In Thompson's Corner and his 3 daughters?
He's only got 2, mister, Sarah and Emily.
Oh, that's so. That's so. I was spending Christmas with them. It looks like I'm carrying an extra present. It's a real pretty little red bonnet with feathers on it.
I couldn't take it, mister.
Oh, no, I wasn't thinking of giving it to you, Johnny. But I was sort of hoping that you'd show me the trail from here on in. Of course, it would mean you're turning around going back home, but if I was to cause you changing your plans, I'd feel obligated to pay you back some way, you know.
Well,
It would be only fair. Trouble is, I haven't got much money, so if you wouldn't mind accepting the bonnet instead, you'd be doing me a real favor, Johnny.
There's Aunt Millie out in the yard. Oh, she looks mad in a wet hen.
Well, there is a resemblance, I'll have to admit to that.
Where in tarnation have you been, John Carterville? I've been looking high and low for you since dawn.
Well, I just went for a little ride, Aunt Millie, to get us a Christmas tree, see?
Christmas tree? Fiddlesticks.
This gentleman won't cut it down. I'll just take it inside. Be right back, mister.
If we had any use for a Christmas tree. I suppose he's figuring there'll be a whole lot of presents under it.
No, I don't think so. But just between you and me, I got a hunch there'll be at least one person waiting for somebody.
What are you talking about?
Oh, no, it wouldn't be fair for me to speak out before Christmas. You know that.
You don't mean he's got something for me.
No, you mustn't get too curious so early.
But I thought he didn't like me. I thought he just hated having to live here with an old maid. I guess I just don't know nothing about kids. Nothing at all. I don't deserve to get...
Well, I think I'd better get moving along. Say goodbye to Johnny for him, will you? And I wonder if you'd give this to him. Yeah, tell him the little blade on it's kind of dull, but...
A pocket knife?
Yeah.
Now, how did you know?
Hold on a minute.
Oh, God bless you, mister. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Please remember now, beginning December 31st, the 6-shooter will be on Thursdays instead of Sundays. We hope you'll join us in our new time. The 6-shooter is an NBC Radio Network production in association with Review Productions. The transcribed story was written by Frank Burt in collaboration with Charles Dickens. Mr. Stewart may soon be seen in the Universal International picture The Glenn Miller Story. Howard McNear played Scrooge, and special music was by Basil Adlam. The entire production is under the direction of Jack Johnstone. All characters and incidents are fictitious, and any resemblance to actual characters or incidents is purely coincidental. And now, until Thursday the 31st, this is Hal Gibney speaking. Merry Christmas.
From 70 years ago, December 20th, 1953, Jimmy Stewart as the 6-shooter. Thanks to Mount Wheeler Power for making this possible. Our webpage, classicradio.stream. News is next. Merry Christmas.